Hey guys, welcome to 9.1b, writing exponential functions. So what we have to remember from the previous lesson is there's two types of exponential functions where we have growth and decay. And the parent function is y equals b to the x, where b is our base, but we can also have this equation where it's y equals a times b to the x, but always remember that b is the important one because that's the one being affected by the exponent. So let's go ahead and identify each of the following as either exponential growth or decay. So in this first one, the b value is what's being affected by the x. Typically, b is in parentheses like it is in this one. We have 1/3 to the x. 1/3 would be, in this category, less than 1 but greater than 0. So that is going to be decay. Next one, we look here at 3. That is greater than 1, so that's going to be growth. This one here, we are looking what's inside the parentheses, 1/2, also less than 1, so that's going to be decay. And this last one is kind of tricky because be careful and note the negative exponent on this one. So what that negative exponent is going to do is actually be the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1, and that's greater than 1. So this is actually growth as well. Kind of a tricky question. All right, this is pretty short. We just have to go through a couple examples here. The process for this is going to be really important though. So you have to think about, you're given 2 points, and how are we going to fill this in? Because there's a lot of variables to solve for. Remember that these points are x and y. So I'm going to call this one x1, y1, x2, y2. And what I'm going to do is fill them in 2 separate equations. So the first one, I'm going to replace x with 1 and y with 4. So it's going to be 4 equals, I'm taking this y value, replacing it with this 4. A we don't know yet. B we also don't know. X to the first is what's going in place of the x, so that's going to be 1. What I'm going to do now is I want to solve for A, so I'm going to divide by B. Now what happens on the right side is the b's go away, and now I know that 4/b is equal to A. Okay? We didn't actually solve for A or B yet. That's going to come in just a second. So then I'm going to repeat this process, but now I'm going to use the other coordinates that I'm given right here. So the y coordinate is 12, A, B, but now I'm going to use 2 for the exponent. The thing is, I can replace this A here with this A, because I know what it equals. So I'm going to get 12 equals, I'm taking what A equals, 4/b. I'm taking that times b squared. I just substituted this out. Because now I don't have an A in the equation anymore, I just have a single b, and we can always solve once it's a single variable. So what I end up getting is 12 equals 4b squared over b. This b squared is going to go to the top. And then using our rules of exponents, this b goes away and we're left with 4b, divide by 4, and we get b equals 3. Now that I know what b is, I'm going to take that value here and I'm going to plug it in over here. So a is going to equal 4/3, and there I solve for a. Now the last step, what you have to remember is we're trying to write an exponential function for this, so we have to write the equation. So it's going to be y equals, we just solved for that. We got 4/3 for our a value right here. Parentheses, the b value is 3, and the x value, we just leave it as x. There's the equation that would model these 2 points. All right, time for another one. Write an exponential function whose graph passes through 2, 9, and 4, 20, 20.5. Or 0.25. So again, I'm just going to label this as my x1, y1, x2, y2, because I want to do this in 2 separate equations. So the first equation, I'm going to use my x1, y1, so it's going to be 9 equals ab squared. Again, I'm going to solve for a by dividing by whatever the b term is. In this case, it's b squared. So those b squareds are going to go away, and now I have 9/b squared equals a. Now I'm going to repeat this process, but I'm going to use the other coordinates over here. 20.25 equals a times b is going to be to the fourth power. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this value here and I'm going to substitute it out for this a over here. 20.25 equals 9 over b squared times b to the fourth. I get 20.25 equals, now hopefully you recognize what's going to happen here. Since you have 4 b's that are going to go to the top, you have 2 on the bottom, it's just going to end up being 9b squared because you would have b to the fourth over b squared, like that. Now the next step is we got to get rid of this 9 first. So let's divide by 9, get 2.25 equals b squared. And then to get rid of the square, we're going to take the square root of both sides. So b equals 1.5. Now what I need to do is solve for a. So back over here, I'm going to take 9 divided by 1.5 squared, and I'm going to get 9 over 2.25, and that just equals 4. So a equals 4. Now that I know a and b, I need to write the final equation. Y equals 4, 1.5 to the x power. You always want to leave it in terms of x and y after you solve for a and b. And that is it for this section.